Mr. Kedia, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kailash from RXL.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kailash ji. Good afternoon, Mukesh ji.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good, good. What about you?
Good, going good.
So, good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to this webinar on asset restructuring module for MSMEs. Since with the onslaught of COVID-19, we have seen that many of our MSMEs, they are having, a lot of financial difficulties. Therefore, it is very important that what should be the suitable module for asset restructuring. And for this, we have a very prominent panel today. We have top officials from SIDBI who are going to give the presentation. And I'm sure that this will be very, very fruitful session for all the people who would like to know about the subject. So to begin the program, I would like to first invite Mr. Mukesh Kumar Shukla, who is the chairman of Samadhan, also a very senior member of UP State Chapter, for the welcome address for today's program. Over to you, Mr. Shukla.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mehta, sir. We welcome you all on this PSD chamber, and we are conducting this conference with the help of SIDBI as well as Resurgent India. That is our main motive is to support the MSMEs during this COVID period, lot of these schemes are announced by the government. Basically, in the banking sector, there is an announcement of the restructuring scheme is a very need of the hour, and SIDBI's come with the asset restructuring module on self preparation method page or modules generate kiya hai that SIDBI ne. It will help to the MSMEs to restructuring their accounts on the self mode and submit to the banks. That will save the time of the bank as well as the time and the proportion on which the proposal will be conducted or presented to the bank. That will help both MSMEs as well as the bankers. This conference is very fruitful for the MSMEs which are opting for the restructuring. And for this conference, we have the lot of panelists, especially from the SIDBI side. We have the Rajiv Kumarji. We welcome him as a General Manager, SIDBI. And Prakriti Parate Chaudhary ji is Assistant General Manager from SIDBI. And we have the Sudarshan Kedia ji, Associate Vice President of Resurgent India. And we have also our PhD co-chairpersons, Mr. Pradeep Agrawal ji, Mr. Manish Khemka ji, and Mr. Satish Agrawal ji, all the our co-chairmen of the UP PhD chapter. And other members of the managing committee also welcoming Ranjit Mehta ji and Atul Shrivastava ji and all the person from the media and PhD members we welcoming on this conference. We are opening this conference, and basically this chapter belongs to the UP government and UP is the big owner of the biggest number of the MSMEs in the India. So we have the more responsibility, and we also having the this privilege that SIDBI holds the office, their head office in Lucknow, and SIDBI is launching this asset restructuring module on the web portal, where you can declare, do it yourself on the total restructuring of your account on the basis of certain parameters, where you calculate your restructuring. And restructuring belongs to anything. You can restructure your account by taking new loans. You restructure your account by taking some gestation period. You restructure your account by taking your portion of undue portion and overdue portion into the FATL. You convert your working capital limits into the term loan, WCTL. There is a lot of things which you can do in your restructuring proposal. It is very fruitful if you do it yourself, and it will help, because if you are going any bank, all the banks are busy up to 31st March 21 for restructuring only. And we can, if we develop our proposal and we present it to the bank, it may benefit it for the both. And we are also supporting the government, because it is the COVID period where every industry needs funds, and government has given 20% lot of funds, additional fund to the support of the MSMEs, but it is not enough, because there is a lot of things is still required to boost this MSME sector, and restructuring is also part of that. There is on the 6th June or 6th August, there is a government, I think, announced the proposal that may cover all these things, where what are the formalities are there, what units are covered under this restructuring proposal. And we have a lot of discussion on the MSMEs restructuring schemes, but here we are talking about how you restructure your account by taking this online module and do it yourself and present to the bank as an output reports, and bank can start your work. So this is very, very good initiative by SIDBI, and we have 3 people from the SIDBI, so we can better discussion from their side, and we should be talk about, if possible, what are the basic difficulties we are facing in the restructuring and what accounts are coming into the restructuring scheme. And this is then we especially opening this session and welcoming with the welcome of all the participants till we have the 79 participants are there. I think it will increase as the time goes. But I am opening and welcoming you all. Especially, I am handing over to the Mehta sir, who invite our next speakers, and we open this session.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shukla. As you rightly pointed out, UP is one of the biggest states in the country. And in India, we have got around 64.5 million MSMEs. And out of that, around more than 10 million MSMEs are in Uttar Pradesh. So this particular conference, this particular webinar holds a special significance in the light of large number of MSMEs that we have in Uttar Pradesh. So now we invite Mr. Rajiv Kumar, General Manager SIDBI, for his presentation. So what I'll request everyone is to actually stick to the time given allotted to you. So over to you, Mr. Kumar, for your presentation.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I must thank PSD Chamber of Commerce for basically organizing this webinar on a very short notice. I'm very thankful to Atul Srivastavji and all other office bearers of PSD Chamber of Commerce. When in fact I told him about this asset restructuring module, he was very forthcoming, and in fact it was Mr. Srivastav's idea that let us have some this kind of webinar organized. So he has done all the groundwork, and I can see there are many MSMEs who have joined here. I'm very thankful to Mr. Srivastav and the entire team of PSD Chamber of Commerce. I have with me three colleagues here. One is Mr. Sunil Mohan. He's a retired banker. He's an ex-banker, and he is one of the counselors which SIDBI has appointed for this asset restructuring module. And Mr. Sunil Mohan will be making a detailed presentation on this ARM module and will be answering the questions by the MSME subsequently. Then I have with me my other colleague, Prakriti Pratyay Chaudhary. He is the in charge of Lucknow branch office. He'll be making a brief presentation on direct financing schemes of SIDBI. And last but not the least, I have with me the CFO of Receivable Exchange of India Limited. As you all know, RXIL is an associate of SIDBI, and they are working on basically easing the problems in collecting the receivables by the MSMEs. So there is a TREDS platform which RXIL is operating, and SIDBI is basically encouraging MSMEs to register on that portal and avail the benefit. So I will not go into that detail. Mr. Kailash Farodia will be explaining that in detail. Before, I would request Mr. Sunil Mohan to basically take over and make his presentation. I would like to give a very brief snapshot about SIDBI. You all know about SIDBI. In fact, PSD Chamber of Commerce is very vibrant organization, and we have been working very closely with them. I belong to Lucknow regional office, and which is taking care of UP and also a few other states. So, and I'm very pleased to share with you that in UP, after the COVID situation, the MSMEs have very quickly recovered, and my best wishes to all the MSMEs, and that they have very quickly recovered very well. And in fact, SIDBI is providing all kind of supports in the MSME ecosystem. Wherever there are gaps, we are trying to fill up. As you are aware that SIDBI is primarily a refinancing organization. So our primary objective is to basically ensure that there is no liquidity issues in the system, and the MSMEs get the money from the banks or NBFCs or microfinance institutions wherever they are going, or wherever whatever schemes those are running for MSMEs. So around 94% of the total business of SIDBI, approximately 1,55,000 lakh crore, goes to the refinancing to banks, NBFC, and microfinance institutions to ensure that there is sufficient liquidity in the system for on lending to MSMEs. Then we also, on a selective basis or a small basis, we also undertake direct financing. I mean, the objective of our direct financing is not to compete with banks. Basically, we want to support banks, uh, and we are basically operating only those schemes wherein there are certain gaps in the banking system. So my colleague Prakriti is going to tell that in detail. And the third pillar on which SIDBI works is the promotion and development of MSMEs. So under PND, promotion and development, we undertake many activities. The major one is a Swablamban program. Under the Swablamban, we are conducting uh, many programs, many workshops, basically to encourage the unemployed youth to take up entrepreneurship as a first priority for his career, and instead of going in for looking in for any jobs or anything. So with these words, I must briefly introduce the asset restructuring module which SIDBI has launched. This is basically a web-based platform. Generally, I mean, you all know, whenever you prepare financials, either for your loan or for restructuring, detailed financial analysis is to be prepared, and this is normally done in Excel. And this requires, I mean, most of the MSMEs generally they seek the help of outside experts, mainly chartered accountants, etc. So they are basically dependent on those experts, and sometimes when those experts are busy, it becomes difficult, or delays do happen in getting these financials. So this web-based module is basically a do-it-yourself kit wherein MSMEs themselves can prepare. They need not, I mean, check the formulas and all those things. They need not know do anything. Certain basic inputs they have to, I mean, feed in this software, and then customized reports will be generated as per the RBI guidelines. So, and this entire thing is free of cost. Further, on all India basis, we have appointed 22 counselors to handhold and support and guide the MSMEs that how to work on this module. So Mr. Sunil Mohan is one of that counselor, and he's a very experienced senior banker. I would now request and hand over to Sunil Mohanji to make a detailed presentation on asset restructuring module. And then subsequently Prakriti will be making a presentation on direct financing schemes, and subsequently Kailash will be making a presentation on the trade scheme. So I would request all my colleagues to, I mean, be brief and short, and we should not be, I mean, exceeding 10 minutes at the max, so that we should be getting some time also for the question answer session. So over to you, Mehta Sahab.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. In fact, as per the this agenda that we have, first I would like to invite Mr. Prakriti Chaudhary, AGM SIDBI, for his presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Good morning to all of you.
Yes.
Sir, I have shared my PPT with Miss.
Atul, can you please share his PPT? Atul, are you doing it? Please make it on presentation mode. Make it on presentation mode. Click at the bottom. Mr. Prakriti, you can start.
Yes, sir. Good morning again. Good morning. Good afternoon to all of you. And actually, the present seminar is on basically on restructuring package. But as in since SIDBI is doing such products, such programs regularly, it is better to know beside restructuring package. If any unit is doing nice, even if in this COVID situation, they can come to SIDBI for direct lending products, where SIDBI, basically SIDBI is doing direct finance for the last around 10 to 15 years. And basically SIDBI's main role is to establish of new unit where maximum risk is involved. So SIDBI's expertise in direct finance exposure, that banks are generally don't finance greenfield projects. So SIDBI from the day one, so starting from land, building and plant and machinery, SIDBI is helping MSMEs to establish a whole unit so that many people can come together, come forward and establish their own unit. So to start with, please go to slide, uh, move to slide. Please go forward, sir. Next slide, sir. This is the main role of SIDBI, which the GM has already been explained. Go to next slide, sir. Next slide, sir. Next. Yeah. So this is the basically a normal simple term loan where SIDBI is the objective of SIDBI is to, when a customer try to set up a new unit, will finance both civil construction and acquisition of plant and machinery. And if any unit is there which is going for expansion, SIDBI is also financing by civil construction and acquisition of plant and machinery. So here for existing unit, the basic eligibility criteria is the unit shall be in profit for the last 3 years. And our loan amount is slightly towards higher side. The minimum loan amount is around 25 lakhs. And in this project, the promoter contribution is around 25 to 35% based on the nature of the scheme and the project. And expected rate of interest is around 8 to 9% based on rating. And generally, we prefer key projects should be set up on a land which is industrial or a converted land. It should not be agricultural or commercial. We prefer generally industrial units. Now, these are the schemes. The SIDBI is doing such kind of projects for the last 10 to 15 years. Lately, we observed that since it requires a lot of paperwork, so SIDBI has come up with around 10 to 12 products, loan products for existing clients, where you can finance machineries in a very and within a 1 week time frame with minimum paperwork. So can you please go back to the previous slide? These are the schemes where we can finance the first scheme, that is Speed Plus and Pratham, where we can finance only machineries in a very application format is only 2 page. Rate of interest is quite attractive, and except FD, we don't require any kind of securities, since basically customers have already their securities having their banks. They don't have any security to offer us. So that is why only by taking FDs, we can finance 100% of the machinery value in the top 3 schemes. The next scheme is STAR, where we are financing the solar panels, where banks are hesitant to finance because it has, once installed, it has no value. So that is why by taking some kind of FDs, we are financing 100% of solar panels. And the fifth scheme is, it's new to SIDBI. Generally, we do not finance traders, but for stockists and dealers, we finance such products. So please go to the first slide, that is Speed and Speed Plus. Next, first name. Go to 7th or 8th slide. Next, this is the scheme. Just go to the previous one. This is we have hired up with various OEMs, original equipment suppliers, very reputed machinery suppliers. Borrower plans to purchase the machines from such OEMs, then basic eligibility should not have net operating losses for the minimum 2 years, but having cash profit. In Speed, the loan amount is 1 crore, and Speed Plus, the loan amount is 3 crore. So it's a very, and rate of interest is very attractive. It is around 7.85 to 8.42%, and FD requirement is 15 to 30% based on is internal rating, and 100% finance is available. Suppose, for example, cost of machine is 1 crore, and the borrower is purchasing machine from the machinery supplier with whom SIDBI has a tie-up facilities. Then by keeping 20 to 30% FDs based on rating, we can finance the entire 1 crore amount to the borrower without any security by keeping only FD. Next is SIDBI Plus, is basically the same scheme, but here loan amount is up to 3 crore. The next scheme is Pratham scheme, where some of the borrowers have tried planning for purchase of machineries, where SIDBI does not have any tie-up, but they are also reputed machinery supplier. For those, Pratham scheme is designed where the SIDBI does not have any tie-up with the machinery supplier, but the unit should be in profit for 3 years. Loan amount is up to 3 crore. Where here, that FDR requirement is slightly higher side. It is around 30 to 35%. Rate of interest is again attractive. So without collateral, these 3 schemes, we can finance the machines if they are purchased from a reputed machinery supplier. So these are the next slide. This is the basic difference between the snapshot of all the schemes we put together. The next slide is, these are the machinery suppliers. Next slide, please. These are the machinery suppliers with whom SIDBI has already signed an MOU. If any of the company or borrower purchase machines from these machinery suppliers, then by keeping 25 to 30% FD with SIDBI, you can avail the entire value of the machine. You can avail the loan, the entire value of the machines. Then the next slide is rooftop solar power plant. Nowadays, more thrust on the companies to cost cutting. The electricity bill is a major component of the cost where the MSMEs are facing. So that is why SIDBI has come up with a scheme where we finance solar rooftop on the unit itself, on the मतलब फैक्ट्री में ही ये हम लगाएंगे ये वाला। तो इसमें भी सेम चीज है, मतलब ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है. It should be existing unit having cash profit for last 2 years. Loan amount is 10 to 250 lakhs and requirement eligible watt is 25 kilowatt to 500 kilowatt. 100% funding is available, again by keeping FD of around 20-25%. Rate of interest is here is very attractive, that is around 7.95%. So this is also a very good scheme where people are availing and getting much more facilities all over India. Then the last scheme is retail loan scheme. Basically, this scheme is for those retail traders and dealers, wholesale traders. This is a very new scheme. Till now, we are not getting much proposal under this arrangement. But if anybody is availing any kind of dealership from any largest companies, then he can avail such facilities. Here loan amount is up to 10 to 100 lakhs. For retail traders and dealers, it is around 50 lakhs. Working capital assistance up to 20% of the last FI sales turnover will be granted. Here also rate of interest is around 8 to 10%. But here there is no requirement of FD. The loan will be covered under credit guarantee scheme if the borrower does not have any security. So these are the more new schemes which SIDBI has launched for the last 2 to 3 years. Besides that, SIDBI has also so many schemes, and any company or MSME who wants to avail, they can visit to our branch office, which is at Lal Bagh. And last slide, please. This is my helpline desk.
Right.
Right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prakriti. Now, I think that there's a presentation on asset restructuring. Mr. Sunil Mohan from SIDBI is going to present that presentation. So, Mr. Sunil Mohan, so kindly give the presentation and please be brief on time. Thank you.
Yes. Good afternoon, my dear friends. And Ranjit ji, Mehta ji, as well as Rajiv sir. Please share my PPT, what I have given you.
Just be on it.
Rajiv sir, Atul ji.
Yeah, we are sharing.
In the meantime, actually, Government of India and RBI have come up with several measures to extend relief to the MSME to tide over the pressing time of the COVID-19. One-time restructuring window under COVID relief package has also been announced by RBI of our MSME in August 2020. This is just as the SIDBI and its associates, ISARC, that is India SME Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, have taken initiative to develop a web-based asset restructure model for MSME ARMS. It is automated online do it yourself. It is a very important thing in here. That's I want to say is it do it yourself. The proposal self-created, the MSME can go for the self-created, their restructuring proposal, financial viability projections, everything they can write very well. And if they are having the account, they want to send this to the 3 banks, they can go up to the 3 banks, it can go very well. And next. And who can use the model on what cost? Who can use the model, what cost? This model is a mean for viable micro, small, and medium enterprises. My word is viable micro, small, medium enterprises. This is the actually the reason is the loans are given. Every bank is having their different schemes, and banks may require some preparation. That they can have the techno-economic viability reports, and they have, because every bank is having their own systems. But even though if you're using this system, there's a no cost. The cost of using this model by the MSMEs as well as the bank is a zero. You're not supposed to pay anything by using this, as well as the services. Now, how to use this model is a do it yourself. Next slide. The tool to guide the MSME help notes provided by the necessary places. Whenever you'll open that site, you will get some notes. You will get some manual. You will also get the manual from that at the time of opening the models. Next. Any hand holding, and next you go ahead. And next, any hand holding support is available for those units which are having problem to fill it. Yes, because we know the MSME is having so many type of problems. They have to see their own manufacturing. They have to see the finance. If they are having some problems filling all these things. Next slide, please. Then there's a hand holding is available in in our model. And when we open the window, please go to next slides. Under the contact us, the written is under the contact us section on home page. This window will get the helpline number has been provided of the portal for the basic queries. Besides, SIDBI has placed the experienced counselors at many MSME centric locations in partnership with the industry associations to handle the such MSME on pan India. All over India, we are having the counselors for helping this. There is a mobile number and contact details are there. No fees charge are required to be paid by MSME to the user, to the counselor. And next slides. In case of further support, SMA is having their own helpline. We can go contact them, mail send. What are the documents required before the starting the trip? Actually, whatever you do, you have to give some information. You have to put some information in this. So most important thing, documents that require the financial statement of the past 2 years. If it is and completed 2 years, if it is not, then you can at least 1 year is immediately completed year is required. The detail of its restructuring business plan to work out its financial viability plan, business projections over the portal. This is required. Means what is your plan? How do you want to extend the financial facility? Work out the financial viability plan. With these two things, you have to start the go to ahead. The documents required may vary based on the financial guidelines of the different banks. Actually, this is required to different banks. The MSME may have to check with their dealings banks related to the documents required and complete the restructuring proposal in addition to the financial projection so worked out. MSME's user will also upload soft copies of the signed application form and other documents prescribed by its bank on the portal before submission to the bank. There is I will show this, that is also, that is how to put the things. First is then there is an indicative list for the documents to be submitted to the banks with a structuring proposal. First is application, a request letter signed by the proprietors, all partners, or authorized director of the company. Last 2 years balance sheet, wherever applicable, along with the income tax GST returns. Sales achieved during the current financial year up to the date of submission of application. Up to the date of submission of the application. Provisional balance sheet as at the previous quarters. Net worth statement of proprietor, partner, director, and guarantors. If additional funds are proposed to be infused by the borrower, sources thereof. Because whatever the funds you want to infuse, there is what are the sources that we have to declare it. Detail of all liabilities and of the enterprises. All the liabilities includes the liability owned to the state or central government or unsecured creditors. Support detail for the suggested remedial measures with the estimated time frame of enterprise just to action the plan. Is MSME borrower required to submit hard copy of the proposal? Yes. They are upload a signed soft copy to the portal will suffice. Depending upon the guidelines of the bank, whatever if your banks require the hard copy, you have to give the hard copy also, as well as you have to put it in the portal. Whether this model can be used by seeking one-time registration? Yes. It is a one-time valid up to 31st March 2021. Based on the framework of regulatory guidelines, each bank is having framed its policy for restructuring of the loans that have been impacted due to COVID-19 pandemic. MSME may check with the dealing bank to understand the position. Who can avail the benefit of retailing under standard assets? Now question is to retain the standard assets. Classification on a loan restructuring. As per RBI guideline, circular issued on 6 August 2020, the MSME classified as a standard may be restructured without downgrade in the assets classification, subject to the following condition. There are a few conditions of this. Means the borrower is having total fund-based or non-fund-based facility 25 crore as on 1st March 2020. Borrower is a standard assets as on 1st March 2020. Restructure of the borrower account is implemented by the March 2021. These are the few. And GST and entity is GST registered on the date of implementation of restructure. However, this condition will not apply to the MSME that are exempted from the GST registration. And this shall be applicable as on that date. If they are not eligible for GST, then this is not required. Will opting for restructuring package have an impact on credit bureau report? As per regulatory guideline, bank will inform the credit bureau the restructured by the bank. This is the required. And who are not eligible? Now here is the who is not eligible. Those are the willful defaulters. Those are non-viable units. They are not eligible for this. Other types of relief covered in this model are the additional moratorium period, principal, the additional moratorium, holiday period, we can say, and same thing, change in repayment installment, and with or without extension, regularization of the working capital limit by way of enhancement or conversion of part or full working capital limit, funding of overdue penal interest or interest and future interest, change in rate of interest, additional loans. The MSME unit required to check with the banks about the relief the unit would be eligible. Because again, the final sanctioning authority is the bank. The approval of the restructuring proposal may be credit decision of the bank. This is the final, they have to check with their own bank. Which bank will accept proposal under this model? All the banks. Model has been developed considering most of the possible scenario of the restructuring, tested by some of the leading banks to generate financial projections in standardized manner. And that as the different banks may have their own requirements, guidelines, and therefore they make this according to that. In case of multiple loans, credit facilities with the banks, one have to prepare separately restructure proposal. If there are multiple loans, then what we have to do? There's no need to send a separate proposal. No, the model has the option to prepare single restructuring proposal for all loans of MSME unit availed from one multiple banks. Initially, provision has been made for online submission of maximum 3 banks. This is a provision in this. Now, if anybody want to send to other banks, that we'll discuss later on. It is suitable for restructuring of term loan as well as working capital limit And restructuring proposal can be prepared both for term loan lenders as well as working capital banks. Yes, this model can be used for any combination of restructuring funding of interest of term loan or a working capital limit and their regularization. The restructure proposal prepared over the portal can be submitted online to the term of banks. That what is the maximum moratorium period that can be availed by the MSME? It depends on the guidelines policy of the dealing bank, and hence MSME may get in touch with the dealing bank. And what would be the maximum amount? Maximum extension on repayment period. It is also again the dependent of the concerned bank policy, and hence MSME have to give the touch with them. What will be the maximum period of funding of future interest? It is again that depend on the guidelines policy of the dealing bank, and hence MSME may get it touch with that. Can this model be used for requesting the bank for reschedulement of any way for change of principal installment without a moratorium period? Yes, this model can be used for any combination of reschedulement, additional moratorium, or on change of principal. Can this model be used for additional loan? Yes. As part of restructuring, MSME can apply for additional funding also. However, bank based on their internal guidelines, viability of the project. Again, this is depending on the viability of the project. Again, my first slide, I use the word the viability. The internal guidelines, viability of the project unit, viability of availability of the security margin would decide whether to consider request to the addition finance or not. Can this model be used for MSME which are not eligible for one-time restructuring mentioned above? Yes, this model can also be used for them, but it can also be used for the general restructuring proposal for MSME, but without benefit of retaining standard, because the unit is previously was NP account, but with this, if you go to this unit with this model, the account should be retaining the same structure. Okay. Then how to make the profitability future projection more acceptable to bank? This is again the profitability projection assumption would be realistic and in the line with the
so
past.
Mr. Sunil Mohan, if you can wrap it up within the next 2-3 minutes, because
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I will go ahead. How to use this model? First, I will go with that. There's a general. This is a structure. If you go to enter in this, okay. Let's say yes. This is the general instruction. This is enter data, yellow lines, colors you have to fill in. Next, you go to next slides. The model in this form of the web portal. First, you have to register itself by providing basis detail, email ID, and mobile number. After login, it will prepare a restructuring proposal. After login, first we have to register it, and then you have to go it again. I will show that you go to the slide number 22. Link to this link is given. This link is given. Next slide is. Then this is the after going to this link, you will reach to this site. Here it is given. Next slide, 22, 23. Yes. This is the next is now this is the we have to write it here. A name, other things. Okay, name, model, mobile number, email ID, all this we have to write it and register it. And this is the login. This is a login. After going to it, it will log in. Now, after that, this is a welcome address will come. This will be the things. Asset restructure model will come. One is the input. Second is the output. Here you have to write your bank's name. Here you have to save it. This is a 27 number slides. 27 number slide. Yes. Asset restructure model. This will come. And one is the input and then is the output. And first of all, you have to write the next slide. Then you have to This is a input. We have to write profit and loss, past balance sheet, assumptions, and facilities are 2 options. And the general instruction that I have given you in the start of this process. And then after putting all this in, output will come. And next slide, sir. This is the profit and loss. Then next is a balance sheet. Next slide, past balance sheet. Next slide, assumptions. Next slide. This is the assumptions. Everything is given there.
Yes. Everything is given there.
Yes.
Maybe would you like to share your presentation if anybody wants it?
Okay.
That will be the better idea, because we can share it to our participant if they want. If you want to share it.
Yes.
They can see it.
This is the given. This is the again is the our facilities, assumptions, facility tab. This is a facility tab. Is 3 sections. One is
better will be to share this presentation.
Sunilji, it will be better to share this presentation.
Yes.
So
yes.
it is only some procedures are given. I think in this presentation they will not be able to understand it.
Okay, sir.
Main things you have already told.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so.
And if anybody will have any question, maybe that time they can ask you.
Yes. No
Okay.
doubt. Okay, sir.
So thank you very much, Mr. Sunil,
Thank you.
for the presentation on asset restructuring and what is the module of the SIDBI that you have given. So anybody who wants to have this presentation, they can just write us on this chat box and we will send you this presentation along. Please send your email also so that we can send the presentation.
And anything,
now,
any problem is if anybody having, he can contact us, we can tell them.
Yes, they can contact you also. So kindly remove the presentation, admin. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Kailash Kumar Barodia. He's the CFO of RXIL. So we would like to call him for his presentation, which is for 10 minutes. At the meantime, I'm handing over to my colleague, Atul Srivastav. He will take it forward from here, since I have another meeting to attend on this. I think we are a little overshooting the time here. So maybe that if you can just all stick to the timing, that will be better. So over to you, Mr. Kailash Kumar Barodia.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be sharing my screen. Atulji, I will be sharing my screen. Don't worry. Atulji, can I get the right to share the screen?
Yeah, now you can share your screen. Salja, meanwhile, you just stop sharing the screen.
I think the screen is audible. Visible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why I had taken, because I have to skip some slides, so I will not take much of time in the interest of the time. So hi, my name is Kailash Barodia. I am a CFO of Receivable Exchange of India, and RXIL, Receivable Exchange of India, is basically a trades receivable discounting system and a licensed entity of RBI, which is jointly promoted by SIDBI and NSE, and other stakeholders are State Bank of India, ICICI, and Yes Bank. So as you know that MSME is basically backbone of the country and contributing only 37 to 38% of the job, and GDP 29%. So I'm not going into much of detail, rather than I'll be sticking to the concept of the product. Okay. So RBI has come up with a guideline in 2014 for setting up the trades, and then subsequently, CBI and NSA has applied for the license, and 2015 they had given a license to develop the platform. And December 2016, RBI has given a approval to go live and do the transaction. So the whole concept of RXIL or trades entity is that to discount the receivable of the MSME. Okay, so MSME who was supplying, to take an example of ABC who supplies the material to IOCL, and there is a credit period of 45 days or 40 days, and the ABC is a small MSME supplier who needs a fund on urgent basis because to replace his higher cost of borrowing, or to get more funds so that he can bring more business into the system. So he has to wait for 40 days or 45 days to get realized of receivables. So the whole concept of this setting up the trades platform to realize their receivables on an immediate basis based on the strength of the buyer. So objective of the platform is to finance the receivable of the MSMEs on a digital platform, on a transparent mechanism, so that the MSME gets the fund on a real-time basis kind of thing once the goods are accepted by the buyer, and at a very competitive price and a digital mechanism. Though these platforms give the choice to the MSME to finance their receivables at a very competitive price and a digital way. So the whole concept of RBI to address the liquidity issue of the MSME against their receivables. So how it works, basically, this is a what called multi-participant model kind of thing, where we have a different sellers, we have a different buyers. We can there have different financer. So on one buyer will be having say hundreds of supplier on the supplier side. Same way, one supplier can have 15, 20 kind of buyers on the other side. So under one registration, they can get their receivable finance on this platform. So RXL is basically a marketplace who is joining the thread. So take an example, ABC is a supplier to Maruti, is a supplier to IOCL, is a supplier to BPCL. He has to register once on the platform, and documentation also to be completed with the platform also. So any buyer or the seller or a financer, whatever registration formalities, they have to only complete with the RXL platform. So there will be no bilateral arrangement between the buyer and the seller and the financer with respect to this facility. RXL is basically a e-bill discounting platform or e-invoicing platform, where a supplier who's raising the invoices on a particular corporate buyer or a PSUs or a government department, when there is a credit period and they want the funds immediately credited to their account once the invoices or goods are accepted by the buyer, and they need the immediate funds, so they can avail this facility. What they have to do, they have to basically register with the platform, that means the RXL. They don't have to do any bilateral arrangement with the financer with respect to this receivable financing. Okay. Same way, there is a mandate that the buyer also has to get registered on the platform if they want to avail this facility. This platform support factoring as well as reverse factoring. Factoring, where the seller requires the funding, that means they require the finance, they will bear all the cost of financing. Reverse factoring, where buyer requires the funds, so it obviously it will help the MSME with respect to getting the immediate funds. So based on the strength of the buyer, they get the finance on an immediate term. So it can be seller want to take a finance or buyer want to take a finance. Both can get covered over here under the multi-financer model. So buyer, seller, and the financer get registered on the platform. We are the marketplace where these three participants will get registered, and then they can avail the financing through this platform under the multi-financer model. So today we have almost 40 financers. So rather than knocking a door of each financer, under this platform, there are multi-finance financiers are there, which can get discounted of the invoices raised by the seller on the particular buyer. So as I told you that, let's take an example which we'll carry to our next slides also. ABC supplies to IOCL. There's a credit period involved of 40-45 days, and the ABC has to once his goods are accepted, the ABC has to wait for that 45 days or 48 days when he will get payment from the buyer. Okay, so what if they are registered, ABC and IOCL are registered on the platform, what they have to do first before starting a transaction, they have to define some financing term, like what is the credit period, who will bear the cost, who will upload the invoices, who will accept the interest rate bids quoted by the financer. Okay, so based on that, they can begin the transaction. So once ABC is registered, once the buyer registered, and the initial setup is done, now they are ready to do a transaction. These transactions are without recourse to the seller. So based on the strength of the buyer, the financiers are coming and financing on this platform. So what we'll do, take the same example. Once ABC has supplied the material to IOCL, what ABC will do, once the goods and services have been accepted, they will upload the invoices on the platform. Once the invoices are uploaded on the platform, see, we have both the provision that either MSME supplier can upload the invoices or buyer can upload the invoices. At any point of time, the second party has to accept it. Okay, so which is counterparty acceptance, what we say. Once ABC upload the invoices, the buyer has accepted that particular invoices to make the payment on a due date. There are financiers who are ready to take a call on a buyer. So based on the strength of the IOCL, the financer who is ready to take an exposure on IOCL, they will put a bid. That is the interest rate they will quote on the particular invoices. The interest rates are dynamic, real time, and there is a multi-financer model. As I told you, that's a multi-financer model. So we'll take an example on IOCL. There are 10 financiers who want to take an exposure. So let's example, ICICI put 9%, Yes Bank will put 8%, SBI will put 7%, and likewise they can put a bidding on the platform. So let's say the rates are 6% quoted by SBI. So it is very good rate for the MSME. Okay, if the MSME is bearing the cost, they will accept the bid. If buyer is bearing the cost, they will accept the bid. Okay, in this example, we taken that MSME will bear the cost because they need a fund on an urgent basis. The moment MSME accept the bid, the obligation will get generated for with respect to the financer. Now on T+1 or T+2 date, the MSME will get the funds in their account automatically. All the transactions are happen through NPCI mechanism. So there is no RTGS or NEFT or transfer of the funds. Rather than we debit the financer account and give it to the vendor working capital account if they are having the working capital bank account. Okay. On due date, we will debit the buyer account and we will credit to the financer. When we onboard the buyer, we also take a debit mandate from buyer with respect to their obligation. So again, I am repeating, this is a without recourse to the facility to the MSMEs. So though no limit will be marked on the MSME, by seeing the buyer portfolio, the financer will come on the platform and finance. Okay. So on due date, we will debit the buyer account. So this is called as a without recourse to the MSME. So it has lots of benefit because this platform is basically developed for the MSME. So this is basically a factoring process module and reverse factoring module. I will not go into detail of it. Factoring where the supplier requires the funds, so they will upload the invoices, they will accept the bids and everything. In the reverse factoring model, the buyer requires the funds, so they will accept the bids and everything. They will bear the financing cost. The more important point is that what are the benefits for the MSME seller? So there are lots of benefit for the MSME seller because this is totally a digital platform, and the whole objective or the concept of financing against the receivable of the MSMEs. Okay, so the competitive price competitive is there, lower cost of borrowing without recourse to the MSMEs, multi-financer model, quick payment because once the bids are accepted, either T+1 or T+2 date, the invoices are so the processes are getting credited to the MSME's bank account, and totally automated platform, paperless, no follow-up, totally digital. So this will also not mark as a limit in the as a borrowing in the MSME financials. So it is totally for them. There is a relation of the receivables. So the moment the buyer has accepted their obligation and the invoices are get financed, now if anything happens to the buyer, it is between the buyer and the financer. MSME has got the fund; they are actually out of the picture. Okay. So these are lots of benefit for the MSME sellers on this particular platform. Likewise, there are lots of benefit for the buyers, like it's a paperless digital platform, competitive price, competitive multi-finance model. But this also encourages the buyer to come on the platform if they can have an extended trade period. So let's example, same example, when ABC is supplying to IOCL for 30 days or 45 days, ABC has got the funds. But if buyer wants to have 45 days extra, 60 days extra, 75 days extra, where they will bear the cost and they can have their extended trade period, they can very well avail that. Okay, and we can very well have the integration with ERP system of the buyer. So we have a integration with IOCL, BPCL, HPCL, Bajaj. Sorry, Bajaj. I'm not sorry. It's not with Bajaj. It's Tata Motors, Patanjali. So with all this thing, we have a ERP integration. So vendor directly from their portal ERP portal, the data flows to the RXL system for financing of the invoices. Okay, no follow-up is required. This will also strengthen the relationship with suppliers, because the good supplier, if they have a limited resources with respect to funds, if they are getting the financing through this kind of platform based on the strength of the buyer, the suppliers are ready to supply more material at a very competitive price. So it will have a direct or indirect impact on the product pricing. Obviously, it also give benefits to financer because the kind of quality of the buyer, because on the strength of the buyer, the invoices are getting financed. The quality of the credit portfolio is good. Automated reconciliation, whatever financing happening through this particular portal, is also qualified for the priority sector lending benefit. So this will encourage the financer to quote a very good rate on the platform. Okay, so there are lots of initiative taken by the government to push this product. Okay, so one of the biggest initiative taken by the government, in 2017 October, they have monitored all the PSUs and government department to mandatory get registered on trades platform and do a transaction. Okay, Same way, in October 2018, government has also mandated the corporate whose turnover is more than 500 crore also have to get registered on the trades platform. Okay. To encourage the financer, whatever portfolio, whether it is factoring or reverse factoring, it qualifies for the priority sector lending benefit for the bankers. So this will encourage the financer to come on the platform, do a transaction on the platform. And to just share with you, pre-COVID, we were doing around 300 crore of financing through the platform on a monthly basis. December, we have closed with 805 figures of financing happening through this platform, catering to at least almost 1300 MSMEs. So to just share with you a few figures till 31st December 2020, we have done almost 5,600 MSME registered on this platform. And as far as this, UP state is concerned, which is very hardly a 5% of it, 254 MSME registered as far as the UP state is concerned. We have buyer of around 600. Out of that, 100 plus are central PSUs, around 28 are state PSUs. We have 40 financiers registered on the platform. Total financing done through this platform is 7,500 crore plus financing happen on this platform. More than 3 lakh invoices we have handled. Average rate is 8.21. But to be very honest with you, we have seen the lowest rate of 4.40 on this platform for a AAA and PSU company. The invoice got financed on the strength of the buyers. So the rate are quoted by the financer on this platform is basically based on the strength of the buyer. We have 91% of the MSME registrar category from the micro and small, which is really helping these micro and small entities who are actually require the funds with respect to, because either they will not be having require collateral where they can get it financed from the bank or limit from the bank, obviously because of some limitation with respect to bank. So coming on this platform, the MSME can really get the liquidity with respect to their receivables, where they are supplying to a big corporate or a PSUs or government department, and there's a credit period involved. So in the interest of the time, I had that's all from my side. We have to just announce that under SIDBI scheme for MSME, we have online onboarding features with respect to MSME. Under SIDBI scheme, we are not charging any amount to MSMEs to get enroll on the platform. So the journey of the MSME is very easy and fast, where through the online platform they can visit www.rxl.in and start their journey. The documentation is also very simple. It's like opening a current account where you are submitting the application form, the KYC of the entity, the KYC of the individual, and the GST certificate. Only additional point is that we have to execute master agreement with the exchange, and the board relation has to be submitted with respect to author signatory and participate on the TIPS platform. So I was fast, considering the interest of time. I thanks PhD Chamber of Commerce and SIDBI for giving us the opportunity. That's all from my side. If you need any details, I'll be placing my email ID on the chat box. But you can obviously visit rxl.in for further information. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Kailas. Thanks for sharing such a valuable information. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sudarshan Kedia, Associate Vice President, Resurgent India Limited, for his valuable address to the participants. Mr. Kedia.
Yeah, thank you, Atulji, for providing me an opportunity to speak about the restructuring modules under this forum. So basically, I would like to enlighten the forum that there are basically 3 RBI circulars which are there, which help us to restructure the debt of the lenders. The first restructuring RBI scheme is June 2019. Another is Feb 2020, and further it is August 2020. So these 3 RBI schemes are there, which talk about different parameters and different scenarios to get their account restructured accordingly. So first of all, in order to understand whether the company can avail the benefit of a restructuring or not, in order to do so, we need to understand the viability of the entity as a whole. If the entity as a whole is confident enough that the cash flow can be certain in the near future, then the restructuring is possible. This is not the case where it can be certain that 100% of the debt can be sustainable. If 100% debt is not sustainable, then we can bifurcate the debt into sustainable debt and non-sustainable debt. That is also allowed under RBI scheme. So that is the case. So we need not worry that 100% debt is not sustainable, so we cannot avail the restructuring scheme. Restructuring scheme can be availed irrespective of the fact whether 100% debt is sustainable or not. Now, as per the revised MSMEs definition, an investment somewhere around 0 to 20 crores and 0 to 250 crores of turnover, whosoever fulfill this eligibility criteria would be termed as MSME. And MSME is further being divided into micro, small, and medium. So, but we do have MSME oriented restructuring scheme. We do have only one restructuring scheme, that is August 2020, which talks about that whatever, if the debt is more than 25 crores at an entity level, I repeat, at an entity level, if the debt is more than 25 crores, then that scheme is not at all applicable to that company. So in order to avail the benefit of that scheme, which is dated August 2020, then the debt at an entity level ought to be less than 25 crores, wherein the definition says that definition covers the MSME till a turnover of 250 crores and an investment of 20 crores. So a debt at entity level up to 25 crores with an MSME certificate can avail the benefit of an RBI circular dated August 2020, wherein as on 1st March 2020, the account ought to be standard and a restructuring scheme need to be implemented by March 2021. What is the beauty of this scheme? That whosoever avail this scheme and eligible for the scheme, their account will not get downgraded upon implementation of the resolution plan. But what is the very drawback of this scheme is that this scheme is limited to those as MSMEs wherein their exposure at entity level does not exceed 25 crores. Now the question arises, what would happen to those MSMEs whose exposure is more than 25 crores? So for them, they cannot avail this August 2020 scheme. They have to fall in line with June 2019 scheme, wherein they can offer a deep restructuring as per the future cash flow. They can seek different relaxations under that scheme. But the drawback of that scheme is that once the resolution plan has been implemented, then their account would be classified as NPA, subject to some fulfillment of conditions. So once the account has been classified as NPA upon the implementation of the resolution plan, then the account can get upgraded once they satisfy few conditions. The first condition is that 10% of the restructured amount need to be paid. Another condition is 1 year locking would be there. The third condition would be 1 year servicing of loan ought to be there in place. So if until unless these three conditions are satisfied, their account cannot be upgraded. So lenders do appreciate and restructure under June 2019 also, but that is a residual avenue which lenders do explore until unless it is being much needed for the revival of the company. So if we opt for June 2019 scheme, lenders and the borrower both need to be satisfied within themselves that this is the scheme, this is the way by which they can revive the company. Moreover, for June 2019, classification of account doesn't matter whether it's an SMA category, it's a non-SMA category, or it's an NPA category. Because ultimately, upon implementation of the resolution plan, the account will get classified till the moreover, Feb 2020, there is another scheme which talks about Feb 2020. Feb 2020 basically deals with the under construction projects. So if we do have some under construction projects wherein we want some breathing or breathing time for the due to the non-achievement of DCC or COD, then we can offer Feb 2020 scheme wherein that scheme gave us ample breathing time for the achievement of DCCO without categorizing the account as restructured. So in case of CRE, that is commercial real estate and non-infrastructure sector, 1 year DCCO extension from the original DCCO is being permitted, and another 2 years is being permitted in case it is beyond the control of the promoter. And in case of infrastructure company, if we talk about, then total we do have 4 to 5 years for extension of DCCO. 2 years, initial 2 years we can have from the original DCCO. Another 2 years we do have in case the company is into litigation, court cases are going on. Another couple of years we do have in case something is beyond the control of the company. So if the assets are under construction, it is being highly recommendatory that we should opt for Feb 2020 scheme rather than opting for August 2020 or June 2019, because that helps us to defer our DCCO on reasonable ground. And once there is a deferment of DCCO, then correspondingly, our repayments are also being deferred to that extent. So these three RBI schemes at present valid, and MSMEs who are facing liquidity crisis or are not very judgmental about their future cash flow should opt for it with the consent of the lenders, so that remedial measures are being taken adequately on time. So I do conclude right now. I welcome if there is any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kedia. If there is any question, if any participants wants to ask a question, please ask a question, unmute yourself and ask a question.
Myself, Himanshu Jindal. I have a query with regarding SIDBI direct lending products. Sir, in the presentation, all the three products, Speed Plus, and Pratham, all the three are for the vintage companies. whereas in the starting we were talking about the greenfield units, but the eligibility criteria for all the three, first was the vintage, 2 years and 3 years vintage, but in case of greenfield the vintage is not possible. Also another one is exposure is capped on 3 crore rupees in all the three products, whereas from the MSME point of view, if as per the new definition, if I am implementing a plant of 8 crores or 9 crores of planting machinery, then how the funding will may occur.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I understood the point. No, sir. These three specific schemes, there is a loan limit. But if you want to avail
Yes,
a loan more than 3 crore, then we have separate scheme for that. Where we can sanction the normal term loan. We have a plain vanilla term loan wherein we can consider any loan proposal beyond 3 crore.
Okay, and so for vintage,
these schemes are only for those entities who are already in existence for so many few years with profitable track record, because here the process is very simplified. Application requirement is only 2 pages application form, that's all. But there, if you want to avail a new unit and your eligibility amount is more than 3 crore, where there is a plain vanilla product where you can consider proposal. Right, sir? Hello?
Okay, sir. And the other is for Swalambhan program. Sir, there was a train was scheduled for Swalambhan before COVID. Is there any plan for the Swalambhan train?
No, sir. Right now there is no such plan.
अभी तो नहीं है, फिलहाल तो नहीं है, because it was postponed due to COVID. So maybe again the entire thing will have to be planned again. So जैसे भी जब भी होगा तो वो सूचना आएगी. जो आपका पहला प्रश्न था उसमें मैं थोड़ा क्लैरिफाई कर दूं कि सिडबी के 2 तरह के प्रोडक्ट्स हैं. एक तो नई यूनिट्स को, ग्रीनफील्ड यूनिट्स को सपोर्ट करने के लिए, जिसमें डिटेल प्रोसेसिंग होती है और उस हिसाब से थोड़ा टाइम भी लगता है. दूसरा एक क्विक लोन प्रोडक्ट है जो प्रकृति हमारे कलीग बता रहे थे, जिसमें एग्जिस्टिंग यूनिट के लिए जिनका मशीनरी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है, जो कि अमूमन 3 करोड़ के नीचे जिनकी कॉस्ट होती है, उनके लिए ये स्पीड प्लस और प्रथम स्कीम है, जिसमें बहुत ही फास्ट ट्रैक बेसिस पे हम इनकी फाइनेंसिंग कर सकते हैं. जैसा कि प्रकृति ने बताया था, विद इन अ वीक हम फंडिंग कर पाते हैं ऐसे मशीनरी वगैरह के लोन्स के लिए.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Means both are different.
Thank you, Himanshu ji. So now I would like to invite Mr. Satish Srivastava ji, the co-chairman of Uttar Pradesh chapter PSD Chamber. Satish ji, over to you for the final remarks, for the closure remarks.
Very good afternoon. श्री राजीव कुमार जी, जनरल मैनेजर सिडबी, श्री प्रकृति प्रसाद चौधरी, असिस्टेंट जनरल मैनेजर सिडबी, श्री कैलाश कुमार बड़ोदिया, मुख्य वित्तीय अधिकारी RXIL, श्री सुदर्शन केडिया, रेजिडेंट इंडिया लिमिटेड, प्रबंधक समिति के सदस्य डॉक्टर रंजीत मेहता, डिप्टी सेक्रेटरी जनरल PSD CCI, श्री अतुल श्रीवास्तव जी, रेजिडेंट डायरेक्टर यूपी स्टेट चैप्टर PSD चैम्बर, श्री मुकेश शुक्ला जी, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, मीडिया सहकर्मी और मित्र सहकर्मी और यहाँ मौजूद गणमान्य लोग, सभी वक्ताओं, विशिष्ट जनों एवं प्रतिभागियों को मेरा नमस्कार. ये मेरा सौभाग्य है कि मुझे इस तरह के सार्थक सत्र के लिए धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत करने के लिए कहा गया है, जिसका विषय MSME के लिए पुनर्गठन मॉडल की संबद्धता है. मैं श्री राजीव कुमार, महाप्रबंधक सिडबी, श्री प्रकृति प्रसाद चौधरी, सहायक महाप्रबंधक सिडबी, श्री कैलाश कुमार बड़ोदिया, RXIL के मुख्य वित्तीय अधिकारी और श्री सुदर्शन केडिया, रेजिडेंट इंडिया लिमिटेड को इस वेबिनार का हिस्सा बनने के लिए धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ. इस वेबिनार का समर्थन करने के लिए मैं सिडबी और रेजिडेंट इंडिया लिमिटेड का आभारी हूँ, और मैं ऐसे प्रशासनिक विषय पर विचार विमर्श के लिए सभी पैनलिस्टों के साथ साथ वक्ताओं का भी आभारी हूँ. सूक्ष्म, लघु और मध्यम उद्योगों MSME को आर्थिक विकास के इंजन के रूप में और न्यायसंगत विकास को बढ़ावा देने के लिए स्वीकार किया गया है। एमएसएमई क्षेत्र की श्रम तीव्रता बड़े उद्योगों की तुलना में बहुत अधिक है। अधिकांश अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में एमएसएमई कुल उद्यमों का 90% से अधिक का गठन करते हैं और उन्हें औद्योगिक विकास और निर्यात की प्रमुख हिस्सेदारी के लिए रोजगार वृद्धि और खाते की उच्चतम दरों को उत्पन्न करने का श्रेय दिया जाता है। एमएसएमई देश की औद्योगिक अर्थव्यवस्था के समग्र विकास में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाते हैं। अपनी चपलता और गतिशीलता के साथ इस क्षेत्र ने हाल की आर्थिक मंदी और मंदी से बचने के लिए सराहनीय और अनुकूल क्षमता दिखाई है। भविष्य में विकसित होने के बहुत सारे अवसर हैं। एमएसएमई सूक्ष्म लघु और मध्यम उद्योगों की सहायता के लिए सिडबी द्वारा एसेट रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग वेब मॉड्यूल लॉन्च किया गया है। मुझे यकीन है कि एमएसएमई को भारतीय रिजर्व बैंक के एमएसएमई पुनर्गठन दिशा निर्देशों से बहुत लाभ होगा। मुझे यकीन है कि सभी प्रख्यात वक्ताओं और विशेषज्ञों द्वारा साझा किए गए सार्थक विचार विमर्श और अंतर्दृष्टि के बाद आज राज्य के एमएसएमई को मजबूत करने का मार्ग प्रशस्त होगा। धन्यवाद आप सभी का।
थैंक यू सतीश जी, धन्यवाद। और मैंने भी चैट बॉक्स में मैं देख रहा था ढेर सारे ईमेल आईडीज आए हुए हैं प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर करने के लिए। डेफिनेटली आप लोगों को प्रेजेंटेशन शेयर किया जाएगा और सिडबी की तरफ से, रिसर्जेंट इंडिया की तरफ से लोग आपको कॉल करेंगे, आरएक्सएल की तरफ से लोग आपको कॉल करेंगे। अगर आपके पास कोई भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, कोई सोल्यूशन लेना चाहते हैं तो आप उनको अप्रोच कर सकते हैं। आप सबका थैंक यू वेरी मच इस पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए। थैंक्स।
थैंक यू सर। थैंक
यू राजू जी। थैंक यू कैलाश।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सभी का।
थैंक यू मुकेश जी।
Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks.